It's Twisty Beats, y'all.
I said, it was the night before Christmas when all through the house not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse. And I jumped up out my sleep because I heard a loud thump. And I grabbed the 4 or 5, then I cocked the pump. It must be my imagination, so I went back to sleep until I heard a loud crash coming from the chimney. And I jumped out my bed and I looked at the clock and it said 12 a.m. So I grabbed the Glock. I tiptoed down the stairs and I was kinda scared because I heard a loud rumble and it sounded like a bear. Then I looked around the corner and what did I see? A fat white man staring right at me. He was dressed in all red and he had a big sack. So I stepped out the shadows and said, I don't know you like that. And he said, ho, 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 there's no need to run. I'm just here to spread joy and give gifts to everyone. And I said, oh, word, you think you can just come in my house and not say a word? And you got your feet all on my furniture. In that case you can have it all. So what's in the bag before I let this thing off? He said, don't shoot, I'll show you what's inside. I'll give you anything you want, just name your price. And I said, okay, and put the gun to his head. And then he reached in the bag and pulled out a slice of bread. And I said, oh, word, you wanna play it like that? Well, I'm about to call my homeboys and it's a wrap. And then he reached in the bag and pulled out a little toy. Then I started laughing and said, you got the wrong one, boy. Got the wrong one, boy. Then he reached in the bag and pulled out a little boy. And I said, hey, that was uncalled for. And for that I'ma have to give you these hands. Since you like to break in houses, I guess you know how to dance. You see, when you came in, you thought it was a game. Now I'm about to stomp you out and you gon' remember my name. You must have lost your mind coming in my house unannounced. It's the holidays, I'm about to jingle them bells. If you think it's sweet, well let me put this on your mind. It's about to be a silent night and you're about to see a star, but it's not on the Christmas tree. I'ma beat the cookies and milk out of you. Then I'ma throw you out the window and watch you fall through the snow. You better not cry, you better not pout, because if you do, I'ma punch you in your mouth. And I said, I know this is out of pocket, but when you go back to the North Pole, I want you to tell everybody what I did. So when they think of me, they won't even think about it. And you know who I am, so don't you ever try it. I said my name is Derek, but my friends call me Rick. And since you wanna be funny, you can call me Saint Nick. And he said, no, I'm Saint Nick. And I said, no, I'm Saint Nick. And he said, no, I'm Saint Nick. And I said, no, I'm Saint Nick. And he said, no, I'm Saint Nick. And I said, no, I'm Saint Nick. And he said, no, I'm Saint Nick. And he said, no, I'm Saint Nick. And I said, no, I'm Saint Nick. And I said, no, I'm Saint Nick. And I said, oh, I see you wanna play it like that. Well, we can go outside and you can get your hat. I got a friend I want you to meet, and he's the type that you don't wanna see. His name is John, but his friends call him Cena. He's a boxer and he will lay you out. He said, oh no, there's no need for that. I said, oh no, it's too late, you better pray you don't snap. Then John pulled up and said, what's going on? And I said, hey, yeah, 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 yeah. This man broke in my home. I told him you was on the way. He told me to leave him alone. Then he reached in the bag and pulled out a slice of bread. And he looked at me and laughed and said, come get some. Then John hit him with a 2-piece, then a 3-piece. Then he fell down on the ground, then we both jumped on him. We hit him with a double drop kick, then a clothesline, and a power bomb. Then I hit him with a suplex, then I hit him with a leg drop, then a elbow drop, then a knee drop. Then I jumped off the couch and hit him with a frog splash. Then I put him in a figure 4. Then John put him in a crippler crossface, and we held it there until he tapped out. Then he finally tapped out and we let him go. And I said, you still think it's a game? And he said, no. Then John hit him with a right hook, then he fell down. And I said, you done did it now, because he's not gonna stop until he knocks you out. And then he tried to run away, but he fell down. And John put him in the walls of Jericho, and we held it there until he tapped out. Then he finally tapped out and we let him go. And I said, I told you we was gonna take you out. Then he tried to run away, but John grabbed him by the collar and said, I'm not done with you. And I said, if I were you, I would do what he says, because once he gets like this, there's no turning back. Then
John picked him up and hit him with a double power bomb. Then I said, John, that's enough, let him go. And John said no, and said no, and said no. I said no, I'm saying do 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 do. And John said no, then I said, I'm saying it. And I said no, I'm saying it. And I said no, I'm saying it. And I said no. I see you wanna play it like that. Well, we can go outside and you can get your hat. I got a friend I want you to meet, and he's the type that you don't wanna see.